In this video, we are going to be taking a look at the Neewer Heavy-Duty Z-Style Keyboard Stand. Let's get started. Upon opening the box, we find we've got our stand. Looks like there needs to be a little bit of assembling. Then we have this separate box. Sounds like there's some nuts and bolts in here, and that's it. In this larger bag, we have these very nicely finished metallic legs. Quite solid. This is heavy duty. Wow. Okay, they're individually wrapped here. Now on these legs, you'll notice that we've got these adhesed foam pads. So that'll help when we put that on the floor and not damage our floor. Okay, so just looking at the one leg here, we have a bolt action release. We loosen that up, and then at the bottom, we have this spring-loaded release button. So we can bring that up. Okay, that's gonna be annoying, but at least we know it's solid. To get rid of the wobble, we use the bolt at the top. Oh yeah, that's gonna be super solid. Okay, so I'm gonna release this, and judging by the height of my other keyboard, I'm gonna raise this one more notch up. Okay, so I'm pretty much at the same height as my current stand. And here I am on the 4th notch up. I'm gonna tighten that up, and I'll do the same for the next one. So I have the other stand here. I make sure this bolt is loosened up, and I'm going to try to block these holes and bring it up a few notches here. Okay, so we're on the 4th one. Tighten that up. Good, so I have the 2 sides of the stand all unpackaged, ready to go. Now let's see what's in that other box. Okay, so we have the connector for the 2 halves here. Now I don't see any instruction manual, never mind. So in this little baggie here, we have an instruction manual, which I suggest we follow, even though there's only 3 parts. Cut this open. We have a customer service slip here, so if we do have some questions, you can always seek the help of the actual company. And with regards to the instructions, take a peek and see how this works. Okay, so altogether there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces. but the halves are already put together for us. So we literally just have 3 loose pieces that we need to put together. Upon studying the manual, I have found that, well, number 1, we have all of the tools and pieces that we need. I was a little bit concerned that I might have to go dig into my storage locker and find some tools. Lo and behold, we have everything we need. Okay, so we have these washers, technically, and large bolts. Everything looks solid, really good quality pieces. Quite impressed so far. Great job on the painting. It doesn't even scratch off very easily. So this looks already like a very solid piece of equipment. Even the welds, they doubled up on the welding. Okay, so there are 2 bolts for the distance separation between the 2 sides. I would like to have it approximately the same as my current setup here. So I'll loosen these up. To be honest, I'm gonna go a little bit wider just so I have a stronger base and a little bit more stability. Tighten that up. Oh, that's not gonna work because I missed the inner bar. So I'm going to feel for when it hits the bolt, loosen it up, and then slide it just a little bit more and tighten it on there. Okay, so that grabbed. Can't even see on the other side. Now, I only have these 2 bolts. I wonder if we're missing anything. Let's double check. Okay. So I've got that nice and tight. I've got my bolts to connect this to the side legs. So here is one of the legs. This is the one with the brand name. So I'm gonna keep that on the outside. On this one branch of the stand, I've got a clear hole for the center piece. So what I'm going to do is keep these bolts facing upward just in case I want to change the distance, and I'm gonna put it together as such. Now, I'm not even looking at the instructions, which I probably should, but that's what it says to do, so there we go. I get one of these bracket washers, place that right there. Now they're shaped in such a way that it fits absolutely perfectly on here. I'll get that bolt right through. We've got a good inch of clearance. Now, I'm going to place that as such. I'm gonna start, get that bolt through. Now, you always wanna start it with your fingers first. You don't wanna start using any tools, because if the threads are not aligned when you're tightening it, you have a lot more strength with the tool and you'll end up damaging those threads. So just do it by feel first with your fingers. And this is actually going really nicely. I'm really impressed with the quality of these parts. Okay, so we have the one side, then we bring in the other side here. Now I want to get my washer on first. Now that I have that clearance, I find the corresponding hole on the centerpiece and try to get that aligned nicely so that I can tighten it just with my fingers. Okay, there we go. Okay, so now that I have all the pieces in place, I'm going to take this lever and tighten the sides. That is solid. Oh yeah. Okay, that's not going anywhere. Tighten everything up. Wow, okay, so none of that flimsiness anymore. Let's test it out. Okay, so I have it all in place. It's pretty much right up to the wall. The one thing I will say about this stand, as I get all the cardboard bits off of my black attire, the one thing I will say about the stand, it is quite wide, or I should say deep, towards the wall in the front. The width can be adjusted. I can go wider if I want, but it is quite solid. It's not even moving at all. The rubber pads, to minimize slipping, they do stop in the middle here. So unfortunately, it doesn't quite get the whole length of this keyboard unless I get it right to the edge. But I don't really want it at the edge here. So I'm gonna find kind of the sweet spot. Oh yeah, that's pretty solid. Now the thing is, I have more than a foot behind the keyboard that's just dead space with this stand. So that would be the one thing that is a little unfortunate with this design, is just how much room there is. Now, what I could do is move it so that this keyboard has kind of like two little ridges on the front and on the back. And if you take a look here, you can see these ridges here. So if I get this ridge on this pad and the rear ridge on the rear pad, kind of find that sweet spot where it doesn't move much. Now, do these protruding pieces bother me? I mean, it's not ideal, but again, I don't want any wobbling. So I have to find the sweet spot where it doesn't wobble. And to be honest, it's pretty much when I move the keyboard forward. It's just I'm not used to playing so far away from the wall like that, but it is what it is. Okay, well, I'm gonna test it out and see how it goes. I personally like to play sitting lower at the keyboard. So when I put up my forearms, I want them to be fairly level with the keyboard, like I'm going to ride a bicycle. Some people like to play down at the keyboard. Very rarely do you find people who like to play above. That would be someone like Glenn Gould. I think there's a nice happy medium. I have some practicing to do. So overall, the Neewer Heavy-Duty ZZ style stand is super solid, very easy to set up. It took me a minute, 30 seconds if I would have done it really quickly. But I was able to figure out the height, the width very, very quickly. It is a very solid stand. It's quite heavy. Now, why I opted to get this heavy-duty stand is because I do like to play with no movement. I'm used to playing on heavier pianos, on grand pianos that are several hundred pounds. Those things don't budge. So to be playing on a keyboard that's wobbling all the time, and the music stand on this Roland isn't the greatest, my music tends to slip off or tilt right over. So to have something solid that doesn't shake, I think this is the most cost-effective way to go. The previous stand that I was using is excellent for traveling. So you literally just pull the lever, you put it at the height that you'd like. That's the lowest it goes. That's the lowest I was playing with. But there is a lot of wobble, both up and down and side to side. You have these rubber pads that you can adjust, which are great. So this is a Yorkville adjustable keyboard stand. I will leave the links below in the description for both the heavy-duty stand and this more versatile, lighter stand. This one weighs maybe between 5 and 10 pounds, so just a few kilograms. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave a thumbs up and consider subscribing as well. If you're brand new to playing the piano, I have a full free piano course, as well as tons of tutorials on some of the latest and hottest songs that are out there, including some classics also. Cool, it's like the doorbell. Rachmaninoff is known for some of these bell-like insertions in his music. That major third just comes right through.
These things that I can't let go, watch me turn this life into something that you could never own. I feel this pain, you already